right, good morning. On this Friday morning, weather's pretty good down here. No complaints. High school football round 2 tonight. Got some good matchups. Gonna be out there tonight myself, catching all the action and reporting on it the next day. Just some things going on around the league. You saw Buffalo get knocked off by Houston last night. That's 2 years in a row they going down to Houston and got knocked off. But is there something to worry about? I don't think so. And the other piece of news, sideline news we're talking about today, I see that the Lakers owner, Genie Bus, has pulled a power move on her brothers, on her siblings. It was understood that the brothers, Jess, and I don't remember the other guy's name right now, but they were supposed to be running basketball operations at some point. Well, you know, the dad died, and Jeannie, some people say it's nepotism, but she's pretty much raised around it, so I don't know why that was an issue. But I've heard of Jeannie, but I never hear of the other guys. But evidently, they were led to believe that they were going to be running the operations at some point. But Jeannie had her own ideas, so being over them, she fired them. So that clears the way that she run the whole damn show. So it's a power move designed to keep power, but she's got a little age on her herself. So what she's going to do? You're going to keep it and run it to and not pass it along to somebody. You got to pass it to somebody at some point. But that just goes to show what the parents wish a lot of times don't ever come true. And of course, they don't know about it. And if your heart is not affected by such things, then you're going to cross a lot of people. But beware, you keep crossing people, eventually somebody's going to cross you. And that's one of the things that's going into the Lane Kiffen situation. It's all about power. This guy is eating up the fact that he is the top candidate being mentioned for all of these open jobs. Florida, LSU, should he stay at Ole Miss? Should he go to the NFL? Well, I look at it like this. He's making $9 million right now at Ole Miss. And the word is LSU is prepared to offer him a contract in the neighborhood with Kirby Smith. Kirby Smith got a couple, not Kirby Smith, but Kirby Smart's got a couple championships, national championships, and he's making over $13 million a year. The word is LSU is willing to pay Kiffen the same amount of money. So Kiffen, he's being on the fence. He's talking about getting ready for the next game and trying to act like things aren't really going on the way they are. Meanwhile, he's got family going to scout Baton Rouge and Gainesville, evidently to see if those places are good fits for him. Well, if he can live in Oxford, he can live in Gainesville. And if you can live in Gainesville, you can live in Baton Rouge. So it really doesn't matter. I mean, out of all the southern capitals, well, Gainesville not a capital, so that don't apply. So I scratched that comment. I'll say that one for another day. But the thing is, Kiffen, I think he's about to make a grave decision. And because he's beating around the bush with it, the great relationship that he has with Ole Miss is going to deteriorate. Take, for instance, you have a main woman, and all of a sudden, some woman wants your attention, and she comes at you hard, even though she already knows you got another woman, but she won't stop, and she won't stop. So your woman is expecting you to put a stop to that. And if you don't do it, and the longer it takes for you to do it, the relationship between her starts to go south. And that's what's occurring with Kiffen, and he's not even realizing what he needs to do. So it's my understanding that his agent is on his case that, man, you need to make a decision because you're holding up the process here. Make a decision. But I think what Kiffen is doing, he's trying to stick around Ole Miss as long as possible so he can take that team into the playoffs. I feel like if I built this team and I got them ready for the playoffs and we have a chance to do something in the playoffs, damn LSU, I'm going to coach my team until the end. Now, if you're interested in what I'm talking about, then you wait till the season's over with. Now, LSU is a situation all in itself. Let's go back to the Brian Kelly situation. They fired Kelly. Kelly was never a good fit there, and it took this long to get to that point. But the point is, you got a $50 million buyout, $53 million buyout that you're supposed to pay this man. You have 30 days to pay this man half his money. That number is coming up close. The LSU letting it be known that we don't want to pay this money. So Kelly, he's going to take them to court. And guess what? He's going to win because that is a binding legal contract. He didn't get fired for cause, so LSU owe that man that money. But worse than that, it has to do with the governor. He's behind all this crap because he feels like somebody shouldn't be paid for failure. Well, you negotiated the contract knowing that how tough the conference is and you can lose. And you acting like you could never lose until you lose. Now you're so surprised. But he jumps in when he should have stayed his ass in the governor's office and out the football business, especially many problems they got in that state. He got work to do instead of worry about the football team. But he gets on there and he pretty much throws the athletic director under the bus, chopped his neck off in public, said he couldn't hire the next coach. And that's the essence of his job. And never mind that he's brought in other championship coaches there at LSU. That ain't good enough. So the man pretty much had to resign or they were going to fire him. And sure enough, within 2 days after that, after I told you what was going to happen, that happened. Coaches nowadays want big buyouts. If Kiffen goes to LSU and it's reported that he's going to make $13 million, you can bet that there's going to be some buyout money paid. But if I'm Kiffen, I'm sitting here watching this, you don't want to pay Kelly. What if it don't work out with me? I mean, I went to Southern Cal. That didn't work out so great. And I stuck at Tennessee. That wouldn't have worked out so great. So I had to bolt before they fired me. So you go to a school that gave you a chance to redeem yourself after going to Alabama and doing a good job as a coordinator. You come to Ole Miss and you got things going and you're building things. And because some other guy come over here and talk about we're going to pay you more money, you're going to run over there. Never mind the shit that's going on behind the scenes. You got to be a damn fool. So he's making it worse by standing on the fence. So the question is, what would this guy do? What do you think he should do? Personally, I think he should stay in Ole Miss. But the longer he keeps dragging this out, Ole Miss might not even want him. I seen a line in the paper the other day is that Ole Miss consider firing him, just going to get rid of the whole situation, go find somebody that they know they're going to have coming in. Right now, he's not doing the job. He's beating around the bush. Hey, let's see what we got here. Rolando Wixer says, it buys them some time to come up with the money. Well, LSU's got the money. Never believe that these big-time colleges don't have money. All that stuff about the NIL and not wanting to pay them and how much is the strain, that's all BS. They're trying to find a way to hold on to the money, just like you say, but in a different way. These people that had never even picked up a pair of shoulder pads in their life was making millions off the backs of these guys who were playing ball. And all of a sudden they got to pay. They don't want to pay. But let's just take LSU. I don't know how many people they get into Tiger Stadium, but let's just say on average, because I know Florida, you can get 100,000, Michigan, you get 100,000. Let's just say you capped at 100,000 seats at that Tiger Stadium, and you got Alabama coming in. Of course, they're going to raise the ticket prices, right? So we're going to keep it low. Let's just say we're going to cap the tickets at $100 a piece for all the tickets that are available. So out of the 100,000 seats, let's block off 25% of them. 20 of them, 20,000, we'll let the students come to the game. And then we'll take another 5 for boosters and whatever, the band and everything else, and we'll cap it at 25,000. So that leaves you with 75,000 seats. If you take 75,000 seats with an average cost of $100, never mind that you're going to have some tickets much more than that in the better seats. People will pay to be around this college football crap. Why, I don't know, but they will. $100, 75,000 seats at $100 a piece. What's that? $7.5 million for one game? That's just the ticket prices. You know, if you got your kids in there, they're going to want popcorn and sausages and soda, which they're going to charge you a supreme price for. You're going to make another $1 million or $2 million off the concession stand. Parking, they're going to bat you on the head with parking. So basically what I'm telling you is these universities make no less than $10, $11 million a game, each game. And that don't include the TV contracts and other deals that they have to make money. So these guys are not hurting no kind of way. So for them to come up with this money to pay the coach, that's not good. They can do it if they want to do it. JC, how you doing, man? Hadn't seen you in a while. I didn't see you yesterday. I was on yesterday, and it wasn't very long. I guess I didn't put a thumbnail out there. I was running a little late, but I forget. I think I mentioned something about LSU yesterday, but now I'm finding out that they're giving this big contract offer to Kiffen, and evidently it tells me that Florida's falling off the wayside, and look like LSU is going to be his destination. But I just think it'd be foolish for any coach to go in there to see what they're doing with Brian Kelly and not want to pay this man. Why would I get myself into the same situation? It goes back to what I said before. By him not being a fit there, he's not from the South. He ain't one of them. And they treat him like he's not one of them right now. And I got a problem with that. And if I'm the coach, the hot child of the week, like Kiffen is right now, that'd be the last place I will go. Plus, they expect him to come in and win right away. Well, he might not be able to win right away. He's got things going in Ole Miss. Ole Miss is the place he was supposed to be. He's built this program. They're competitive, and they're on the verge of going to these playoffs. And even if they make the playoffs and he's not there, completely different game because he's the one running the offense. If he's not running the offense, Ole Miss, they just be taking up space in the playoffs because it'll be a completely different program. It's like those teams when you lose your head coach and you go into a bowl game with an interim coach. It ain't the same. And that's just what it's going to be like if Ole Miss gets to the playoff and Kiffen is not there. Now, if he takes the job at LSU and they let him coach in the playoffs, then you're not going to understand that. But I just don't think that's going to be the case because these guys are deep rivals and they really don't like each other a whole lot. They just tolerate each other. And if they really care for him, they will wait till the end of the season to announce the fact that they're going to have to Kiffen and go from there. So that's just my point of view on that. I'm an LSU fan, and I don't want him. Lane Anki cares about Lane. You're exactly right. And I think that LSU first need to clean this stuff up with Kelly immediately before they bring in a new coach. But right now, don't make it look good there. Mr. Northwest Louisiana Saint. Yeah, I figured you out. I used to be at Barksdale back in the 90s. So if you're from Northwest Louisiana, you probably up from that area. Yeah, I know Bossier City, Shreveport pretty well. But anyway, I hope it works out for you, Northwest Saint. I think that Kiffen still needs to stay where he is. And I just don't think that he would get much of a grace there if he goes to LSU. They'd be trying to run him off. Like I say, Tennessee would have got rid of him, and he bolted on them. And USC, they fired him on the plane ride coming back to the university. But he wasn't ready again, and he's gotten better as a coach. And he owes that to the fact that he was able to develop at Ole Miss. That's not to say he should stay at Ole Miss all his life. You don't have to do that. But at least give them proper respect of saying, look, this is what's going on. This is what I want to do. Now, what can we talk about me staying here in Oxford? That's what the conversation should be. Now, having said that, I think the guy, AD there is Carter, K. Carter, I forget his first name, Kill or something like that. They're going to have a meeting today, supposedly. And then once that meeting unfolds, depending on how it goes, will determine how everything works out from this point forward. But if he has a good positive meeting with AD Carter, then I think Lane is probably going to end up staying in Ole Miss. But if he goes and acting on the fence, then he's going to end up losing favor in Oxford, and they just best to have him gone if he's going to be on the fence like that. You can't trust a guy like that. All right. Houghton, man, I know Houghton. I got a friend of mine. I hadn't talked to him in years. We were in the service together there. He got his wife out of Houghton. I don't know where he is now. Last I knew, he was living in Bossier. But yeah, I know Houghton. Um, that's where Dak Prescott is from. Um, I never made it to Houghton myself. I used to run, what's the name of that town? It used to be Highway 7, but they changed it to some other different names, like 30 miles right outside Shreveport. Minden. I used to hang out in Minden a little bit, so I know what you're talking about. But yeah, I think whatever you're going to do, LSU is a good program. They'll find a coach eventually, but I just don't think the way things are unfolding right now, Kippen is going to be the best option for them. But Orgeron trying to get back in there, I don't think Orgeron, um, he's not going to be the head coach. But word is, if Kiffen gets the job, he would bring Orgeron in as an assistant. Now, saying sounds kind of strange, but that's not unusual. That guy Vance Joseph with the Denver Broncos, he used to be the head coach there. Now he's a defensive coordinator with the Broncos under Sean Payton. So it's not unusual that for something like that to happen. But I don't see Orgeron being the head coach there. Other than Kiffin, I don't know who would be the best hire for LSU. Saban, I wouldn't say he's too old. I think he don't fit into what they want to do with the NIL and all this other stuff. He don't want to deal with that. He's an old school guy. And I understand exactly what you mean by that. So in that case, he is old. But I put it to you this way, and this applies to every single job that's ever existed in the history of time. In that application pile is the right person for that job. But can the administrators select that person for the job? Why do I say that? Because I like this guy because he's done this. This guy over here is good, but he don't have enough experience. I don't think he can coach on this level. And this guy here, I don't think he fits in well with us. But that guy over there that don't fit in well might be the best coach. Or the one that don't have the experience that's went on the other level, he might be the greatest coach. But he's not going to get the job because he had to coach that one of these other positions before. Then he goes and get another job, and he fails there. And he said, that guy there, I told you he wasn't good enough. Well, if he's in the right position, he's going to do that job. And I think that is the case with Kiffin. He's in the right position now. And to leave that right position to go somewhere else is going to be different. Same thing with Signetti at Indiana. He was smart enough to realize, why would I go somewhere else when I got it going right here in a place that nobody's ever won before? Nobody. So if I can win it at Indiana, sure, I can win somewhere else, but I'm not going to be as loved somewhere else because they've done it before. I mean, it's old news. At Signetti at Michigan, he wouldn't last very long because the expectations are too unrealistic. And that is the problem. Now, if he goes and wins 2 or 3 championships at Indiana, then the guy following him is going to be in an unrealistic situation. And that's just the way sports are. But Kiffin, that $13 million is going to be hard to walk away from. It won't be like the SEC is something different to him. It's just that his margin for error is not that great at LSU, where they would tolerate that at Ole Miss. We never had the success there before that they're having now. Yeah, I know in the 60s, early 60s, they had some decent teams, but they weren't fast enough to deal with some of those other teams out there at the time. And of course, you didn't have to play them in the playoffs back then. So everybody was happy with their 10-1 mark or 9-2, whatever it was in the early 60s they had. Good football teams, just too damn slow. That's all. All right, I wasn't buying Indiana last year, but boy, they look. Yeah, and when they made that touchdown drive against who was that they came back and scored on in the last minute? Damn, I forget who it was. They drove down the field and they scored when they had to score. I figured they would score. And when that guy made that catch on the great throw, that let you know that this team here's got faith behind them also, and they're going to be a tough out. Now, will they beat Ohio State? I don't know. I think they could play with Ohio State, but I don't think Ohio State's the best team in the country. Their reputation right now is built on the fact that they won a national championship last year and Texas game. Texas is not what people thought they were, primarily because they don't have the quarterback they thought they were. Now, speaking of coaches, Sarkisian is said to be on the hot seat at Texas. Why, I don't know. But if you look at him, he don't look too happy these days. So it's possible that Sarkisian could be out at Texas. So where would he go? He's got experience in the NFL. He's got experience at Alabama. So I don't know, Northwest LA Stadium, you might end up looking at Sarkisian over there at LSU, but I don't think he's going to do that either. So it'll be interesting to see. But the big domino to fall is Lane Kiffen. After he falls and the season is over with, then we'll see who's going where. I don't think it's going to be as much movement as people think it will be. But Kiffen is a big fish right now, and he needs to make a decision fast. And because they put so much pressure on him, it's a bye week. I think by Sunday we're going to have a decision on what Kiffen is going to do. And if he does leave, I'd like to see him coaching the playoffs, because if he's not there and Ole Miss is in the playoffs, then that team is not going to do very well without the offensive coordinator. He's the one that runs things. And if he's not there, then Ole Miss can't compete. It'll just be taking up space. So anyway, that's my take on that. Okay, Missouri coach, real quick. They're looking at him to go to Penn State. And they're also trying to snatch Marcus Freeman out of Notre Dame. So whichever one they end up with, that's what they're going to go with. I think that Drinkwitz probably would be a good fit at Penn State. But I think that where he is now, if he can continue to build, then he can stay in Missouri for a while. I don't know why they got rid of Pinkel. I thought Pinkel was doing a great job, but he kind of flamed out a little bit, and they got rid of him. And as long as Drinkwitz doesn't have any incidents, then he's gonna be at Missouri for a while, unless he takes his Penn State job. But in all reality, if this circus wasn't going on with LSU and Brian Kelly, I was the first guy to say that I felt that Brian Kelly was going to end up at Penn State. But if you owe me $53 million, I'm not coaching anywhere. You're going to pay me my $53 million before I step back on the sideline. It's not going to be like Franklin did at Virginia Tech. They owed him $49 million. And when he signed a deal with Virginia Tech, now $9 million he's going to get from Penn State instead of so you're leaving $40 million out there. But, you do what you got to do. But it wouldn't be me. I'm taking my buyout. I'm going to call John Gruden, and we're going to hang out for a while. So that's my take on that. But anyway, the horn went off. I got to get up out of here. I got to go to work. This kid will be here in a minute. But let me take a look at this poll before I get out of here. I said, should Kiffen take the LSU job? Close, 52-48 right now. Most of you are saying that he should take the job. You're on the fence just like Kiffen. I'm not on the fence. I think he should stay in Oxford. And he needs to tell them that immediately. Otherwise, he's going to burn that bridge too. And then he won't have no choice but to go to LSU. And if he don't get the LSU job, Florida might call him too. So we'll see. But it'll be interesting. But again, I got high school football playoffs tonight. I'll be doing that. Unless there's some breaking news, I'll catch you guys in the morning, and we'll talk about what's going to take place with college football games tomorrow. Yeah, well, Sark, Sark is he's interesting to say the least. And Jimbo Fisher, don't even start talking about him. He's been hanging around Tallahassee trying to get his face out there, and he can forget about that Tallahassee job, and nobody's going to hire him back. But just the fact that he's there is causing talk going around town. He did win a national championship there, but the way he left them, why would you even consider a guy like Jimbo Fisher to come back to Florida State? Don't make any damn sense to me. And one other comment, they're talking about John Gruden might be the leader to take the Arkansas job. I don't think so. I think Gus Malzahn would be the number one choice to me if he wants that job. That'd be Malzahn if he wants it. But I don't know if Malzahn wants it. He resigned as a Central Florida head coach to be a coordinator, so he might want to be like Chip Kelly, just coach football, forget all the other stuff. Just let me coach football. That's the only reason why I think he wouldn't take the Arkansas job. But I do think he would be a front runner there if he said he wanted to do that. So anyway, you guys, wherever you are in the world, hope you have a great day. Mr. Northwest Louisiana Saint, appreciate you stopping by. Hope you like and subscribe. JC as always. And Mr. Roland Wecker, Roland Wecker, sir. Okay. I'll just go with that. 50-50 on the vote. All right, you guys have a great day. This has been Sports for Real. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. I'm out. And my Steelers